What if I told you there's a suburb where you can grab a craft cocktail on the river, drive 5 minutes and be at Target, and 10 minutes later feel like you're living on 3 acres with horses across the street? You're probably thinking, well, that's impossible. But it's not. That's St. Charles. And depending on where you buy, you're either walking to coffee, driving to a Costco, or watching deer cross your yard. So in this video, I'm breaking down all of it, so you know exactly where you want to live before you even make a move. All right, before we get into the neighborhoods, let me give you a quick picture of where St. Charles actually sits. St. Charles is about an hour west of Chicago, with most highway access via I-90. It's surrounded by towns like Geneva, Batavia, and South Elgin, which means you're not isolated out here. You still feel connected to everything. But at the same time, St. Charles is about as far west as you can go while still feeling tied into the rest of the Chicago suburbs. And that's exactly why a lot of people end up here, especially people who want a little more space, and we're gonna get into exactly where that is a little bit later. Now, St. Charles isn't just one type of suburb. It's a mix of a lot of different lifestyles. You've got a mix of older homes, new construction, ranches, two-story homes all near downtown. You have 90 subdivisions with big yards. You have luxury communities and estate-style homes with acreage near Campton Hills. Price-wise, you're usually seeing homes start in the mid-300s on the lower end, mostly updated family homes falling in the 500 to 700 range. And once you start moving outward, you're going to see homes that can climb into multi-million-dollar ranges. So the interesting part about St. Charles isn't just the homes itself. It's how this town is laid out, because the lifestyle changes depending on where you live. And that starts with the downtown area. Downtown St. Charles runs along the beautiful Fox River. You've got river walk paths, patio dining, coffee shops, local spots like Rec House popping up, the historic Hotel Baker here, and you can see a show at the Arcada Theater. If you live near downtown, your weekends probably look a little bit different. You get to walk to dinner, you see people you know. It feels lively, but it's still a small town. Now the trade-off here is housing. Many of the houses are older, lots can be a little bit smaller, and often you're paying for location and charm. But that's what makes it so accessible. You can get into one of the best towns in the western suburbs without spending an absolute fortune. And at the same time, there's also newer homes and million-dollar properties tucked into these neighborhoods right near the river as well. So you actually really get a good mix right here. But St. Charles doesn't stop downtown, because once you move towards Route 64 or Randall Road, the lifestyle shifts just a bit. All right, before we get into that, if you're thinking of relocating to Chicago or the suburbs, this is what I do every single day. So feel free to give me a call or sign up for my weekly newsletter right here. Route 64 and Randall Road is where a lot of everyday life happens here. You see, Route 64 right here is all about convenience. The Target runs, the Walmart runs, gyms, chain restaurants, and that old Charlestown Mall sits right here as well, which honestly right now is mostly a movie theater and a couple stores at best. But the big story is what's coming next. Right next door, they're building Fox Haven Square, and the goal is to bring more of a Rosemont-style entertainment vibe right here. So this area could look extremely different in the next few years. And because of that convenience, a lot of families land in the neighborhoods right around it. Now, if you move closer to Randall Road, you're close to Geneva Commons and South Elgin shopping. And if you drive through some of these subdivisions around here, you're going to notice something really interesting. Even though you're near major roads, some of these neighborhoods still feel surprisingly quiet and secluded. But if you really want the country feel, then you head out west to my absolute favorite place. Technically, you're still in St. Charles, but once you cross into it, you're in Campton Hills. Everything slows down. You get acre lots, 2-acre lots, tree-lined roads, horse properties, custom homes tucked behind long driveways, huge open yards. I was at a home a few years ago, and the owner invited me to pet his 4 goats. It was the oddest offer I've ever experienced, but still one of the coolest. See, you wake up and it's quiet. Unless your neighbor has a rooster, then you get a free alarm clock. You got no traffic noise, no streetlights blasting through your windows. And here's the things people really don't expect. You can feel like you live in the country, but you're still 10 to 15 minutes from downtown St. Charles. Now, that's really the trade-off here. You give up some of the walkability, but you gain space, privacy, and the I can breathe feeling. For some families, especially ones moving from tighter suburbs or the city, This is the part that actually wins them over. Now, before we get into who is this town for, if you're finding yourself having questions about the Chicago market at all, give me a call or sign up for my weekly emails, where I give you updates on the market, local shops, places to check out, and so much more. Now, you might be asking, who is St. Charles actually perfect for? And now, St. Charles tends to be perfect for people who want options, right? People who want to pick their lifestyle. Maybe that's a little bit of the downtown walkability. Maybe you want a larger home in a suburban neighborhood, or maybe you want some land and some quietness out in Campton Hills. See, you really have a lot of options here. St. Charles also tends to hold value very, very well. It's consistently one of the more sought after towns in the western suburbs, but it's not perfect for everybody. If you need a walkable metro access every day, this is probably not you. If you want brand new development everywhere, don't look here as well. St. Charles might not be the best fit if you kind of need those things. And before you say, I'm packing my bags and I'm moving to St. Charles, watch this video where I go over why most people pick the wrong Chicago suburb, and I'll see you there.